At 77 years old, I found myself in a situation I never imagined. I had always been a strong, independent woman. I lived my life on my terms, taking care of myself, managing my health, making my own decisions. I prided myself on my independence, my ability to live life fully. But suddenly life took a turn. Due to a combination of health issues and the natural progression of aging, I was faced with a difficult choice: to move into a nursing home. I had never planned for this. It was something I had seen happen to other people, but I always believed it wouldn't happen to me. The idea of leaving my home, the place I had lived in for decades, was overwhelming. The moment I walked through those doors, I felt an intense wave of emotions: fear, confusion, sadness, and even shame. I felt like I was losing control over my life. When I first arrived, I didn't want to be there. It wasn't the nursing home I resented. It was the idea that this was what my life had come to, that my best years were behind me. I thought I was entering a stage of life where I was just waiting for time to pass. At first, everything about the place seemed unfamiliar and cold. The nurses were kind, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was out of place, that I no longer had the control I once did. It was like I had entered a world where nothing mattered anymore. At least, that's what I thought. But as I began to settle in and reflect on my new circumstances, I realized something extraordinary. This wasn't the end. It was just a new beginning. I had a choice to make, and that choice would define how I lived this next chapter of my life. One of the first realizations I had was that living in a nursing home wasn't about losing control. It was about how I chose to adapt. The more I reflected on my situation, the more I realized that I could still find purpose. I could still be a part of the community. I didn't have to give up on life just because I was in a different environment. This realization wasn't just personal. It was a powerful life lesson that extended to everyone in my situation. We are never truly done living, no matter our age or circumstances. This change in perspective connects deeply to Erik Erikson's psychosocial development theory, particularly his integrity versus despair stage. According to Erikson, when we reach old age, we face a critical juncture where we reflect on the life we have lived. If we look back with integrity, we feel a sense of pride and fulfillment. But if we focus on regrets and missed opportunities, we can feel despair. The decision to embrace life, to reflect positively, and to accept change is an essential part of the aging process. In those first days, I learned that embracing the change, accepting that life had brought me here, didn't mean giving up. In fact, it was the start of a new phase in my life, where I could still contribute, learn, and connect in meaningful ways. And let me tell you, the shift from resisting change to embracing it made all the difference in my experience in the nursing home. This lesson not only changed how I viewed myself, but also how I interacted with the people around me. The nursing home became more than just a place to live. It became a community where I had the chance to grow and give. When I first arrived at the nursing home, I saw it through a lens of loss and limitation. I was focused on everything I had lost: my independence, my home, the ability to live life on my terms. I thought that this move was the end of everything I had known. But over time, I began to realize that my perspective was not only affecting my emotions, but also how I lived each day. The truth is, our mindset can either empower us or keep us stuck in a cycle of frustration and hopelessness. This shift in perspective is grounded in a psychological theory known as cognitive reappraisal, a concept developed by psychologist James Gross at Stanford University. Cognitive reappraisal is the ability to reinterpret situations in a way that changes our emotional response to them. Gross's research shows that people who reframe negative experiences with a positive lens have better mental health and coping abilities. I took this theory to heart. Instead of seeing the nursing home as a place of confinement, I started to see it as an opportunity, a place where I could learn new things, meet people with different experiences, and discover new joys. This mental shift didn't happen overnight, but it gradually changed the way I felt and acted. I began to appreciate the small things, the interactions, the shared experiences. For instance, I met Helen, a woman in her 80s who had lived through incredible challenges. Helen had a wonderful sense of humor and loved to tell stories. One day, we sat down together, and she shared her life's journey with me, telling me about her youth, her family, and how she had always dreamed of traveling the world. She had traveled some, but now in the nursing home, her dreams had shifted. Helen had found a new purpose in helping others. She would organize small reading groups for the other residents, helping them connect through stories. She said, "You're never too old to keep dreaming. You just have to change the way you dream." This idea of purposeful aging was something I had never considered before. In the past, I thought of aging as a time when dreams should be put aside. But Helen showed me that purpose doesn't stop with age. It evolves. Theories of successful aging, by researchers John Rowe and Robert Kahn, suggest that successful aging is not about avoiding decline, but about staying engaged, adaptable, and maintaining a sense of purpose. The research shows that people who keep their minds active and engaged in meaningful activities are healthier and more satisfied with life no matter their age. I began to follow Helen's example. I started to ask myself, how can I contribute? What can I do to stay connected, even in this new environment? The answers weren't always obvious, but I began to see the opportunities, helping others, volunteering for small tasks, and sharing stories. These small actions gave me a sense of purpose, and that sense of purpose helped me feel more alive. It wasn't about what I couldn't do, it was about finding new ways to be useful, engage, and create joy. The most important lesson I learned during my time in the nursing home is that resilience isn't just about bouncing back from adversity. It's about learning to grow from it. At 77, I thought I had already lived my best years. But as I spent more time in the nursing home, I realized that aging isn't about decline. It's about resilience, growth, and adaptation. The ability to bounce back, to find new opportunities for joy and connection, is what keeps us going. It's not about fighting against the changes aging brings. It's about embracing the change and finding ways to make the most of it. This concept is rooted in resilience theory, developed by Emmy Werner, who studied children in difficult environments and found that those who were able to adapt, despite facing adversity, were more likely to thrive. Her research on resilience has been used to help explain how people in later life can also adapt to challenges. Resilience isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving despite life's difficulties. For example, Frank, a 79-year-old man at the nursing home, had been a carpenter his whole life. When he first arrived, he felt that his worth was diminished. His body could no longer handle the physical work he once loved. But rather than accept defeat, Frank found a new way to use his skills. He began teaching woodworking to the younger residents. Not only did this give Frank a sense of purpose, but it also allowed him to share his knowledge with others. Frank's story is a powerful example of how resilience allows us to redefine our purpose and grow in unexpected ways. The concept of purpose in later life is a major factor in successful aging, as shown in research from the University of Michigan. Studies suggest that adults who remain engaged in meaningful activities, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or pursuing hobbies, have better physical and mental health outcomes. When we maintain a sense of purpose, we remain connected to life, and that connection fuels resilience. I began to see my time in the nursing home not as a limitation, but as a platform for growth. I could still learn new things, contribute to others, and find ways to be fulfilled. And the most beautiful part of it all was realizing that no matter where you are in life, you can always grow. Resilience isn't about returning to how things were. It's about becoming who you're meant to be in your current circumstances. As I settled into my new life, I realized that self-care was essential, not just for my body, but also for my mind and spirit. When I first arrived at the nursing home, I assumed that I would be cared for by others. The staff were wonderful, but I soon realized that my own emotional, mental, and physical health required my active participation. I had to take responsibility for my well-being. One of the first things I did was focus on my mental health. I began practicing mindfulness, a technique that involves focusing on the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness has been shown in research from Harvard Medical School to reduce stress, improve mood, and even boost the immune system. I made time each day to sit quietly, take deep breaths, and focus on the present moment. It wasn't always easy, but the more I practiced, the more I began to feel a sense of calm and peace. I also paid more attention to my physical health. I made it a point to walk around the nursing home, even if it was just for a few minutes each day. Physical activity has been shown to improve cognitive function and boost energy levels in older adults. I started small, but over time, these simple actions added up. I also made sure to eat healthy foods, those rich in nutrients that help maintain brain function and energy levels. It wasn't just about eating to survive, it was about eating to feel good. While living in a nursing home can feel isolating at times, I learned to find joy in the small, everyday moments. I began noticing the things I had previously overlooked, like the sound of birds chirping outside, the fresh scent of flowers in the garden, or the warm smiles from the staff. These small moments became a source of gratitude and peace for me. Research from the Greater Good Science Center at the University of California, Berkeley, supports the benefits of practicing gratitude, showing that it can improve mental health, increase happiness, and even lower blood pressure. I made it a habit to start each day by writing down 3 things I was grateful for. These small acts of gratitude helped shift my perspective. I realized that even in a nursing home, life was filled with small treasures, if I took the time to notice them. At the 60+ chapter, we believe in creating a life you love, especially after 60+, when not many people and supports are around you. Every story we share is meant to bring hope, knowledge, and tools that help you live better, not just longer. We are here for you, and we'll keep bringing you real stories, practical tips, and trusted advice every day. Don't keep this to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to listen, or if it simply gave you hope, please take a moment right now to click subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to us. It helps us reach more people like you, and it keeps the 60+ chapter channel going strong. Let's grow this beautiful community together.